police brutality.
For 1 year since 2021, Makerere University's Human Rights and Peace Center conducted research on the management of Uganda's COVID-19 funds basing on the grounds of accountability, transparency and oversight. Principal investigator and deputy principal at the Makerere School of Law, Dr. Zahar Nampeo, released the results to a gathering of lawyers, members of parliament, civil society and the press.
The Minister of Finance maintained that only 4 million shillings was provided for COVID-19. Members of Parliament, on the other hand, said that much more than that was provided for the COVID-19 to the tune of 5.7. So already we are seeing anomalies between key oversight institutions.
The report shows that government was discriminatory while doling out the 100,000 shillings relief fund to an individual beneficiary and on the awarding of contracts.
90% of the vulnerable workers never got onto the list, never received the money. The Parliamentary Committee on Local Government discovered that most of the government employees in Arua City managed to smuggle their names onto the list of beneficiaries as vulnerable, including registering themselves as border riders.
There were also disparities in the procurement process where the public procurement and disposal guidelines were never followed.
That the Ministry of Health contracted MSJMS to supply 1,000 beds and mattresses, 2,000 blankets and 2,000 bed sheets at a cost of 1.3 billion shillings. However, when the unit went to verify, they found only 331 beds and mattresses.
They found that the Education and Sports Ministry could hardly provide information on how much learning materials were distributed from a $14 million World Bank donation. The chief guest, Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, says the report will be used as a guide for investigation.
Our duty is to sit with the Auditor General and the spending agency to ensure accountability for any funds. Now that we have civil society getting on board to provide more information, it is making it much easier because we are having many stakeholders. We also work with the IGG to make sure that sums that have been abused or not accounted for are recovered.
Some of the guests who contributed to the discussion emphasized the lack of political will to fight corruption, which exhibited in the report.
You don't know whom to actually ask, because the district will say these things went through the task force. So this task force says the moment you start seeing formal structures sidestepped, new structures being created that are informal, then that is a risk for accountability issues.
The Budget Act was put in place to ensure that you can fight back to the executive. And there is sufficient power there for purposes of accountability.
Today's report by Huripec joins a list of many others that have been published before, including that of the Auditor General in 2020. The investigators here propose a commission of inquiry into the use of public funds for the response of COVID-19. But what remains to be seen is what action will be taken after everything is said and done. Walter Mwesije, NTV.